Okay. Yes. I hear it. Are we here? Can you hear me?
Go ahead, sir, as soon as it's a record.
Okay, we're ready?
Yes, yes.
All right. Then I'll begin. Well, good evening, everyone. Glad to see you on a Thursday night. I'm told that allows more of you to be with us because Wednesdays were not the best night. Many of you attended services. So here we are with same stories, same everything, just a different night, same hour. I'm going to start this tonight with an affirmation, and it's called I Came to Create. I recognize right now that I am some part of the infinite mind of God. I know the mind is creative, and since I'm part of that mind, I am creative. I came here to create new life, new awareness, and to expand my consciousness of my power to create. I create in every area of my life. I create perfect health by creating a healthy mental outlook. I create perfect relationships by creating a perfect relationship with myself. I create abundance because my awareness of myself is one of abundance. Wherever I go, whatever I'm doing, I know that I'm creating every moment of my experiences. In truth, I co-create with God, for God is the power behind my every thought. Wherever I am in control of my experience because I am in control of my thoughts and my feelings. I choose my thoughts so that my experiences are chosen also. I came to create abundant life, loving life, and complete life. This is my spiritual birthright. I accept it now, and so it is. Okay, let's go to phase 2 once I put the book together because it's shattered from years of use. Those are treatments from Peace, Joy, and Love by Dr. William Tolliver, who was my mentor, my guidance, my friend. Going to shut the door. I'll be right back so nothing can disturb us. Thank you for your patience. Okay, I begin as I always did begin with the following sentence. I am the only person. I will have a relationship with all my life, and therefore I choose. The rest of the sentence is all yours, all mine. Whatever you choose has brought you to where you are right at this moment. Thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of different choices have brought you home so that we could be together tonight. Okay, where am I supposed to be? Right here. I mentioned last week that I was starting to take the material out of a book called The Mystic Path to Cosmic Power. The definition of a mystic, according to this book, is very simple. An advanced state of inner enlightenment, a state of genuine, satisfying success, insight to an entirely new world of living, an intuitive grasp of truth above and beyond intellectual reasoning, a personal experience in which we are happy and healthy human beings. And then he says, this describes genuine mysticism. I personally don't know why it's called mysticism, but perhaps it was so because most people are not aware of it. Things they don't understand, they either call miracles. If you are seemingly above and beyond what is normal and seem to know things nobody else does, congratulations, they have designated you a mystic. I don't exactly buy it, even though I read a lot of material that came from alleged mystics, and I honor their thinking and believe it came from the God that they were created in. But let's just get down to this particular section, which says, you're a miraculous source of health. In the deep corners of everyone's mind, people secretly ask, really now, is there a higher power who can help me? I know that we all profess to believe in something far above our humanhood, but, well, quite frankly, why am I unable to contact that source of my help? There definitely is a higher power, and you can make contact. And if you only could see it, you'd never be separated from it because you cannot be. That's what made you this morning. That's what created you and gave you a new day. As much as we know medically and scientifically, there's no one who can create a human being unless they already have given part of what creates human beings. By the way, by coming on Thursday nights, I come on following dialysis, where I'm on a machine for 4 hours, and it makes me a little foggy. So some of the mispronounced words and some of the stopping for a few seconds, it literally takes me almost 24 hours to get everything back to where I can be 100% normal. So be patient. I'm not missing any of the material, but I might stumble on it sometimes. I had mentioned Meister Eckhart once before. In fact, I probably mentioned him 3 or 4 times. He was an incredible human being. He was in a monastery. They placed him in the worst place in the monastery, which was in the kitchen, which was terrible, the worst place you could ever be. And he did his work without any question, without any complaining for multiples of years. And one day the head abbot came down and said to him, Meister Eckhart, how can you do this for so many years and never ask to have a different position or never be upset about the fact that you're doing it? And he said, it's not a problem with me. I'm just simply practicing the presence of God in me, as me, and through me. He also said people should think less about what they ought to do and more about what they ought to be. If only their being was good, their works would shine. Don't imagine that you can ground your salvation upon actions. It must rest upon who and exactly what you are. You couldn't hear it come from a better human being than Meister Eckhart. In fact, he was so different at his time and so threatening to the Catholic Church that they wanted to excommunicate him and even kill him. Ultimately, because of his holiness, throughout his lifetime, it never happened. And now we have a book and several books by Master Eckhart, his essays, well worth getting if you care to. And the Eckhart, I believe, I'll go back one page because I don't want to misspell his name. Where are you, Meister? Meister is German for master, by the way, in case you don't know that. Oh, come on now, Erwin. This is what I'm talking about, folks. I even underlined it. Oh, yes. Eckhart. The Meister is Meister. To continue. A little consideration of what takes place around us every day would show us that a higher law than that of our own will regulates our life and events for us. Our painful labors are unnecessary and fruitless, that only in our easy, simple, spontaneous action can we be strong. This again goes back to what we've been teaching right from the beginning. It is done unto you as you believe. If you are focused and centered, believe in a higher power, do the work to connect yourself each and every day so that you can begin to realize that there is one and that it is used. It can help you with what you need. You won't be finding it difficult. Because we say if we are connected to it, everything is good and everything is well. So the answer is stand up for yourself. You will win. Little by little, you will win. In the beginning, you might be reluctant to start because you're not sure what it's all about. You don't know whether all this makes sense. But in truth, it's the only sense there is. So the answer to go and beginning to use your higher power is very simple. Start. Start challenging it, start using it, start watching what it can present in your life. I mentioned last week that several people, well, one particular person anyway, started doing affirmations very strongly with a much improved belief system because it was challenging it, and he immediately received something, and he said, I thought it was unbelievable, a miracle. Once again, there are no miracles. There are just what people call miracles. The reason they do that is they can't explain how it happens and how it works. So then it has to become a miracle. Ernest Holmes said, if any person can create a miracle, everyone else can. They just have to become of the same belief system. Success in life depends on what headquarters you're taking orders from. Where are you taking your orders from? Do you do what we suggest? Become quiet and listen. Suggest that we step aside of our own intellect, which is only human and can't go into that sacred space. Because without that, you go into the wrong headquarters. You probably have spent your entire life in human headquarters, listening to everything they told you, telling you to go and do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. You picked it up, scooped it up, absorbed it like what you heard, took it into your own life, and that's why you're in a position you are now. The test of what you accept as true is the way you go through your own day. Don't try to change your day. Seek to alter what you accept as true. Effortlessly, your day will change in favor of yourself. The more you trust this intellect, this incredible gift of life from the source, the easier your day gets. And you don't need to understand everything in order to start. Just start right here where you are. And again, how do I do that? Well, you begin the process. We have been speaking about the process for 16 weeks. You became familiar with the spiritual laws, which you had used all your entire life, but not as adequately as you could because you didn't even know there were laws and you weren't quite sure how to use them. So you used them like we all do in most of the decisions in our life. Very confused, very haphazard, and wonder why the results turn out to be that way. They have to turn out that way because what you believe is what makes it achieved. The test of a genuine need is so simple, millions of us miss it. Does it make me genuinely happy, or does it lead to less happiness? There's the test. Whatever decision you made, if you radiate absolute joy and pleasure after you make the decision, you may rest assured 98% of the time it is accurate, it is true, it is intuitive, it comes from the innate intelligence that provided you with life. It should give you great pleasure when it works that simply, and you'll be very glad to get tired of working so hard at living. The abandonment of useless human effort is just the thing we need before we can really get back to the higher power. We came into this world with it. And slowly but surely, as we matured and we began to understand the people who were speaking to us, we began to adapt their attitudes. They meant well. They gave us all the information they could from their own life process. But frequently, the information provided wouldn't be good for you or for me. It took me 47 years to shake myself out of that tree. And until I came into Science of Mind, I was knocked all over the place by so many false beliefs that I basically was nothing, somewhat useless. That my creator got angry at me and watched me all day long. They were called mortal sins, venial sins. Terrible way to live, to be honest. It's a foolish person who imagines he has nothing to learn. There are no moral judgments in true teaching. There are no such things as good and bad, superior or inferior. They're neither good nor bad, superior or inferior. They simply are. And they become useful to us as we understand that they're simply life experiences waiting for us to recognize them so that we can grow in our spiritual essence and then make the human side so much easier. Most of us think life has hundreds of problems. It hasn't. There's one problem. We as lost children don't know the way home. The truth is stronger than thought, emotion, desires, sex, regret, money, fear, boredom, the past, the future, stronger than anything in life. Just learn to be silent. Let your quiet mind listen and absorb. The less external comforts from external sources, such as friends, positions, money, the more your inner comfort from the higher power. Perfect method for awakening is just examine the results of your own daily actions. If they hurt you or anyone else, we know we need some more consciousness, meaning more work and more effort. I suggested, well, a good bit back, that one of the great things to do to improve your life and to get closer to the Supreme is at the end of the day, try to write down at least 10 good things that happened to you that day. And then I also advise you, there's a book out, 144 Good Things in Life. And I think I wrote it down, it might be here. Nope, I don't have it on this sheet. But it's called 144,000 Good Things. You'd be amazed what's on there. Awakening starts when we actually see that we are our greatest limitations. We have to suspect that we are entirely different people than we have been thinking that we have been all of our life. Here's a couple ways to go and gain some strength. One, don't accept the comment that unhappiness is necessary. Oh, good Lord, amen. I'll look up and say that. I was taught that life will knock you around. Life is difficult. Life is this and life is that. So just abandon self-defeating attitudes. Make simple and persistent efforts to change. Do not give your integrity to anyone. Most of all, stop wasting energy in negative emotions. What you think about, you bring about. You think negative, you get negative. That has to be that way. Never identify with anything on the human side of the equation. Because when you lose it, that's when the fun begins. That's when the depression starts. That's when you go backwards and you start doubting yourself again. Don't identify with anything. You have it, good. You don't, that's all right too. You want it, work for it properly. Most important part of every day is every day make self-discovery your daily hobby. Here we go again. Dialysis fog. Make every day an experience. I get up every morning, and I have repeated this often during these talks, and I say, no person, place, or thing is going to interrupt my pleasure and enjoyment of this day. And I add on, sometimes I look forward to the new experiences, such as friends, situations, new sources of pleasure that come from a supreme effort to go and recognize the good in every person. You have to really want the truth more than you want anything else. It's going to hurt sometimes to give up some of your thoughts or your BS, your belief system, because you've been working off of them most of your lifetime, and it's like giving up a habit. You created the habit, you enjoyed the habit, and now it's very difficult to give it up, but the only way you can move forward is you must do it. The mystic person knows why things happen as they do, and knows yet he knows the solution because he is one with the supreme being that created and gave him life. That's the way to know. To know you know because your source is intuitive, it is supreme, it is innate. To recognize it, to listen to it, to put it to use and see the results. That's how you begin to really know what's going on. It says here, we must become aware of our negativity before it can be destroyed. It's impossible to break free from a harmful state as long as we're not conscious that it doesn't require being part of our existence. Change, 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 change. And boy, how we resist change. But the primary premise of this teaching is simple. Change your thinking, change your life. Change your thinking, change your life. Why? Well, Jesus said it is done unto you as you believe. As long as you have the same belief system, you're going to get the same results. Somebody said that way. If you do the same old thing, the same old way, you get the same results another day. We said it in the beginning. You're the only person that will have a relationship with all your life, and therefore you choose. Choose wisely. For that which you choose will be the immediate result. So if you're in a state of consciousness right now where you're not really excited or pleasant about your life, start beginning to ask yourself, why not? And then change your thinking and change your life. We possess a force entirely different from human mind power and incredibly superior to it. Human thought is necessary and useful, but it's necessary only for human affairs. Spiritual knowledge and awareness is necessary for complete freedom. The more you become aware of your spiritual power, the quicker you will win what I call the game of life. It helps to awaken. It's right. If it keeps us asleep, it's wrong. The quicker we remove every negativity, contact with higher power grows stronger and stronger. This weekend, I had the extreme pleasure of having here we go with the lip service again. 4 of my 5 children and their spouses came down. And we had a ball. We hadn't seen each other since COVID began. Somehow, somewhere, my children picked up some of this because while they were with me and while we were together, I was a whole different teaching. But somehow they escaped it earlier. And 3 to 5 are very much involved in this teaching of continuing the reaching for a higher spirituality. You never saw so many people at one table having such a good time. I tell you, so much love was flying around that table that you almost went, and they left. It was almost tears, but I didn't because they have a right to leave and go back to their own life. But it was sad because their energy levels were so high and all of us at the table was so filled with love. It kind of hurt to see it go. Good thing I know is it doesn't go. It's just moving further away, but we know how to reach each other. And now that I have been taught Zoom, we will be zooming along much more often so that we can actually look at each other as we grow in love. The section of the book here is the power of love among people. And he says this is to be learned. Love is not dependency, idolization, sentimentality, craving, or physical attraction. Human relationships based on those attributes are strained and will break apart at any moment. Genuine love does not start with an emotion. It begins with a state of consciousness, a clear awareness of a deep understanding both yourself and the other person. Look, I was married the first time 23 years. First marriage should never have happened. But there was a point in my life where I really messed up, and lo and behold, I was thinking of becoming a priest, and along came this young woman And as it is the case with many men, I was overpowered by her beauty, and she became very close to me, told me how much she cared for me. She was from Ireland, and when she went back home, I went berserk. Thought I couldn't live without her, so I traveled to Ireland, married her over there, and brought her back. It didn't take long to recognize we were so far separated from so many of the important belief systems and beliefs in each other that it would be quite a chore to keep this marriage together. Truthfully, I don't know how we did it for 23 years, but we did. But that shows again, it's not emotions, it's a state of psychic understanding. You have to get deeper. You go into a relationship not to get something. Your job when you go into a relationship is to give something. What's the something? Love. Unconditional love. Words used so easily and so simply, what it is exactly what it says. Unconditionally loving. No matter what's going on, no matter how bad or good it seems. It's unconditional. You love the other person because you are guided to love everyone, and this is your particular person. One of the amazing things, and it's a side thought here, but I just want you to realize something, what you're getting here on Thursday nights, is my eyesight kind of fades in and fades out. And when I'm trying to read a book to kind of give me a guideline, it makes it really fun. Here's some of the secrets to know whether you truly love someone or you are misguided by what you continue to call love. It was once stated by a close friend of mine, you really don't begin to love till you're together for 10 to 15 years, where you go through every circumstance, every situation life can throw at you, and you still look at each other and like it. But here's what happens. When two people meet, the prize always goes to the one who has the most self-insight. So never permit the behavior of the other person or other people to tell you how you're supposed to feel. Very important. Feelings are emotions. Emotions are energy. They can be very persuasive. They can be very improperly directed. Never pay little attention to what people say or do. Instead, try to see their motive for speaking and acting. But most important, apply the very same rule to yourself. And then you begin the process of becoming enlightened. You listen to them so you can better understand where they're coming from. Now, here's the other part. You listen quietly to your intuitive knowledge so that you can become a better person. Any friendship or relationship requiring the submission of your original nature and dignity to any other person is incredibly wrong. Mystically speaking, there's no difference between you and the other person. That's why we can't hurt another person without hurting ourselves. Well, we can't help them either without first taking care of ourselves. When we're free of all unnecessary desires towards other people, we can never be deceived and we'll never be hurt. When you understand others to the exact degree that you really understand yourself, congratulations, you're on the beginning of a very exciting path of life. The individual who really knows what it means to love has absolutely no anxiety when his love is unseen or rejected. If you truly in love, it should have nothing to do with their response. Your love is your love for another person, unconditional love. Tough word, that unconditional. It's not an easy chore. It means you have to look aside at the small things, the deeper things, the hurtful things, the unexpected, which you weren't expecting when you went into the relationship, requires tremendous individual strength, but a full knowledge is that's the way it's supposed to be. We can't recognize a virtue in another person that we don't possess in ourselves. It takes a truly loving and patient person to recognize virtues in another person. Last, do not contrive to be a loving person. Work to be a real one. Being real is being loving. The greatest love you could ever offer to another is so just to transform your inner life that others are attracted to your general example of what true love and goodness is. Did you get that? You become the goodness. You become the loving. Now, let us not get confused. There are two words in the English language are deeply confusing. Spiritual law says we must love everyone. Please don't joke on that. We must love everyone. But human law, which is parallel, says that doesn't mean you have to like them. But there's the challenge. To take a person you truly don't like and still love them, you're getting closer to what you need to guide you to become the spiritual individual you would like to believe you can. They ask here, why is it so shocking to lose someone we love? Well, because it brings us face to face with our own emptiness. The marriage falls apart or the sweetheart goes away. The sufferer's first stage is find a replacement. You do that because you are scared, insecure, you feel unwanted, you feel unloved. But I have news for you. Even if you find a replacement, it won't do anything more than the first round. It will not fill you up. It is not their job to fill you up. That's what most marriages are today. The divorce rates around the world are incredible. Because two individuals get married together and each one is looking to get from the other person without wanting to give to them. And when one of them breaks down and says, that's it, it's over. Because it's impossible. You cannot get anything from another person that you haven't already gotten or have for yourself. It's a tremendous challenge to truly wake up and be willing to give up all immediate and unhealthy pleasures for any kind of long-term riches as well. We are human, but we are to go and be loving. Love your God like you love yourself. Love others like you love yourself. Do you hear the key? It is, how do you love yourself? Did you get up right away and go to the mirror this morning, like I often suggested? Do this little exercise. Have you hugged yourself today? If you haven't, you started the day with less than you could have. Our corporation was Have You Hugged Yourself Today? And it was incredibly successful. It used to be really comical. I had to bump a sticker on the back of my car, Have You Hugged Yourself Today? At every red light, the car immediately behind me did that. Why does it take a bumper sticker to remind you what's important and significant? You are a co-creator with God. One of the things that make you very powerful, and I know this now, somebody said a long time ago, the more I know that I don't know. Well, this is that step. Every person does the best they know, but no one actually does the best. Even Socrates, way back, said basic error lies in the ignorance of our own true nature. This nature leads to false and unbelievable identities. Spiritual awakening changes your values, changes your life. Another healthy benefit derived that is no longer fearing resentment, disapproval, or accusation from others. You clearly see that their negative attacks belong to them. They have nothing whatsoever to do with you. Do you feel ill just because someone else does? Well, it's something like that. Spiritual and psychic awakening creates smooth relationships with everything, everyone, and everybody. Marcus Aurelius, probably one of the only Caesars that were highly spiritual. To read his writings is amazing, and someplace in the writings are residing in Michael's house. And he said this, does anyone do wrong? It is to himself that he does the wrong. It's the only place that there could be such a thing as wrong. If you're hurting, it's because you have allowed the hurt. You have expectations that are higher than what any other individual could possibly lead up to. But that's what happens. We try to go and put a collar on our individual person that we're in relation with, and when they don't live up to it, then the fun begins. No one on earth can hurt you unless you accept the hurt in your own mind. So it's so very powerful, particularly now in this point of my life. They can't bother me. They simply can't. Nothing can, because I prepare for it every day by simply saying, no person, place, or thing will interrupt my feeling good today. This is a chance for some new experiences. And then I look forward to the whole day because I don't know who I'm going to meet. I'm bound to meet somebody I never met before because my wife says I would talk to the wall just to get somebody to listen to me. So I'm out there looking for people who listen to me. The exchange of affection and love between two people is possible only when both possess the capacity. There can be no such thing as a relationship that's one-sided. A person capable of giving genuine affection will also be able to receive it, for they are two parts of a single ability. But affection doesn't come immediately. It grows naturally as we awaken to our own true nature and to what the true meaning of love is. To end this particular chapter on the power of love, I'll give you a couple things that were in the chapter in very precise, small portions. You are loved far more than you think. You are loved far more than you think. How do I know that? How can I say that? What right have I got to say that? Well, the right I have is I awakened this morning with a day of life. I didn't give it to myself. Something far greater than myself gave it to me. You're here, so it was given to you. It was given to you because you are loved far more than you think. By the Creator that provided you with an intellect, a body, and an opportunity to go within and recognize that you are a spiritual human being living in a human body. To be considerate of other people without their knowledge is truly love in action. To be real is to be loving. When we're fully loving, we have no cares whatsoever, because we're not looking for anybody to give us anything. We're not disappointed when it doesn't come back. What's the true process of giving? Giving is the ability to give freely with no intention of receiving anything back in return. That's true giving. How do you know when you're a giving person? Very simple. You give it, and then you don't tell 5, 10, 15, or 20 other people how good you are by what you did and what you gave to the other person. You just give. Because you are giving to another human being. You are demonstrating in some way, either by sharing your experiences, by encouraging to recognize their own lives, that you're giving, and let it be. And after they leave, bless them and say some kind of a small affirmation. Great one that used to be good for me in another time of my life, go with God. Energy speaks to energy. They may not have been aware what you were wishing them, but they were aware through the energy that was each and every one of them. The difficulty in teaching now is far greater than it ever was when I had the church for 30 years. Because during the process of 30 years, every Sunday when I give a talk, I was applying it to a week of life that had occurred. And I was learning. But then you get to a place like where I am now. You're so peaceful, it's almost disturbing. I can tell you one thing, anybody that's around you that doesn't have that feeling of contentment, really very unhappy with you. And you'll get things like, you changed. How did you do that? What's wrong with you? Why do you think that way? Can you withstand it? Because you need to in order to grow. You can't care what anyone says. Other than physically hurting you, you can't care for what goes on from them to you either. You send them away with love, and because obviously you don't like them, you just avoid them, but you don't get into long spirited conversations that make you less of the spiritual human being you could possibly be. Well, guys, I'm looking at the clock, and this thing, I believe Zoom is 45 minutes, so I'm going to pack it in. Tell you, I trust there are more of you here now, and that you get something out of these weekly sessions, because I can assure you I do. I can't see you. I know you're there. I offer you what got me to where I am right now, probably in the most content place I've ever been in my entire life. For I have no expectations from anything, anyone, or anybody, so there are no disappointments. That helped a lot yesterday when my children left. They owe me nothing. They owe me absolutely nothing, but they came from Jupiter down because they wanted to see their father. I was grateful for it. See, when you're not looking to get something and it comes from a place that is not looking to get anything from you, you just have the time to do what we did yesterday, hysterically laugh and just have a great 2 hours together. When you go, after the session's over, do some of the things that have been suggested to you. Look your day over, see what good came into your life, anything. Best hamburger you ever ate. A fantastic pizza. Notice most of mine lean towards gourmet foods. But I met 2 or 3 people who I never met before and talked to them and realized what interesting lives they had and gave them an opportunity to share what was their goodness and greatness with me, which made me feel good, made them feel good. How many of those did you do today? How many times did you just say to every person, good morning, have an awesome day, or some equivalent? Your comment at that moment may be changing somebody's life. That might be a person that was ready to do some real harm to themselves. But your acknowledgement of them and your excitement and your energy goes to energy, might make them stop to rethink it. Blessings on all your heads. Thank you so much for being here tonight and understanding why I might be a little off kilter. But dialysis is saving my life, but it also takes everything out of you for a little while. It takes 4 to 6 hours to get back to normal. But I wouldn't do anything to stop these sessions. Michael, are you still there?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Deiser. Anybody have any questions? Anything to say?
Mr. Brown.
Greetings, Dr. Deiser. Question for you. Eckhart Tolle. Are you familiar with that name, sir?
Please give it to me again.
Eckhart Tolle. T-O-L-L-E.
Oh, of course. Who doesn't know Eckhart Tolle? I've read so many of his books and his material. It was all part of my growth process to get here. Yes, Michael, he's got about 100 of what's left of what one time was maybe 1,000 to 1,500 books, with Tolle being one of them. I think I had 3 of his writings, if I can remember correctly. But as I slowly started giving up the church, whoops, I hit the wrong button again. Hold
No,
on.
you're there. Keep going.
Okay, there we go. But yes, I definitely know about him, but all of his authors are parallel.
Yes.
There's different ways of saying the same thing, sometimes more,
Yes.
but there, yes, I definitely did read that, Dale.
Okay, and you mentioned the Meister someone earlier.
Meister Eckhart.
Isn't that the same person?
No,
Okay,
Meister Eckhart was back in the 1600s.
okay,
No, by no means the same, but what happens is when you start reading one and another and another and another, and they're enlightened, it's very simple to say that they must be the same person, because they are when it comes to energy and wavelength and knowledge and understanding, because we're all one person, Dale. That's something
yes,
we always got to remember. But some of us are further in our past than others, but that was the trouble. That's why I told Michael I couldn't write the book. And I have the material, believe me. In fact, Phyllis looked the other day, we changed this room from the church office and we're ready to make it into an additional bedroom. She says, can't you get rid of this? And I don't know if you can see, but the book is about that thick. It's got to be about 250 to 300 pages. I call it jottings. The problem with jottings is at some point you don't remember what's yours and what belongs to somebody else. And I just didn't feel I could write a book in such a manner and take credit for it when it probably belonged to somebody else. Right in the process of these 6 chapters, the Mystic Path. In fact, the very first chapter when I started 3 weeks ago, something I always have been using and saying very strongly, there is no bad, there is no good, there's no right, there's no wrong. I thought was real genius. It was right about page 26 in this book. And I last read this book maybe 20 years ago. All one mind, my dear. Dale, we're all one mind.
So I would say thank you for revealing what was already in me.
I can only tell you what I know is in me, because that way I know what's in you, Dale. It's very, very simple. Everything about us and on our life is about us. We can't see or see anything good in anybody else, then it's because we can't see it in ourselves. It's like it said, that one sentence is so powerful. I am the only person I will have a relationship with all my life, therefore I choose. But you're choosing like every other human being on the planet. You're using the same energy, you're taking from the same creative source. But due to the circumstances of our lives, we're in different atmospheres or spheres in different parts of the world. But the great ones, the ones who really get into the understanding what it means to be one, recognize it in every person, no matter where they are. I am only telling you right now, the reason I know everybody that's on here is good and loving is because I feel it. I feel it. I told that to Michael many times. You just continue doing what you're doing. You're obviously a person that's interested in continuing to grow. Keep at it, because you'll never know it all. The only thing you can know all is that you are one with God, or whatever you wish to call it. There are many names for that beautiful energy, but whatever you call it, get close to it, become quiet, listen more, talk less. When it offers you something, look at it, see how you can equivocate and put it into your life, because it will change your life dramatically. Hey, Michael.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
I'm over, Michael.
Yes, sir.